All right, bubblegum video time. Let's try to unravel a mystery. So I am looking at a blood python, and this is actually the morph. So this genetic morph is called the golden eye. And what I've always been fascinated by blood pythons, because way back before there was dirt, you could not get a captive-born blood python to save your life. And now the richness of line bred and morphs for this very often misunderstood species are just excellent. And one reason why I love blood pythons so much is the fact that you get a big snake kind of weight and impressiveness, but for the overall size, the snake is certainly manageable. And now my camera's wiggling around. So my camera doesn't even get red. And this is just gorgeous. I really like this species a lot, but it has never really succeeded in the pet market. Certainly there's some top-notch breeders out there that have some ridiculous stock, but I think what we find out is, for as remarkable as the animal is, we don't have the biggest market. So that means the success of a breeder breeding their morphs or their wares or their line breeding, and we have almost like a boutique thing. Like if we have like a dog breeder that has success because they have a certain lineage of Rottweiler or Shepherd or whatever that is known from like people that are really discerning and discriminating. But if you go to like a reptile show, you don't see a lot of people fawning over a blood python breeder's table or whatever, because I think we have to go down to how it's perceived. And we all perceive that blood pythons are aggressive, they're untrusting, and they're mean. Well, if you watch my videos on behavior, see this long, frequent tongue flick? This animal's wonderful. Just an absolute doll. Thinking animal. I think blood pythons tend to be a little bit paranoid, and they have really good memories. So if you do something terrible to them, maybe like give them a shot or put them in a fish tank or a terrarium where they bite the glass, they might blame you for that. So let's actually take a look at some of the cool different morphs that are out there and why I love them so much. All right, this is not inclusive for all the different morphs. I'm just gonna so this is classic, what a blood python does. So this animal is freaked out because I just took it out. So remember, when the focus of my camera, it is reflecting a spectrum of light that I can't see, but my camera sees, and this animal sees. So it basically, it's been taken out of its home and it's now being manipulated. So it's a little bit worried. So I have to give it a chance. Look at that brain going. So a little short tongue flicks. He's a little bit worried, a little paranoid. But if you actually put a little bit of time and invest yourself into this animal and you handle it with respect, you then start achieving what we all want, which is we want to have an animal that's not worried about us. And it's just a great pet. So right here, this is a genetic stripe. So this is, I didn't pick out the most remarkable. I just wanted to show you just some animal with this nice stripe that I produced. This is possible het T positive. So let's take a look at, let's actually look at a T positive, see what that looks like. Here's a little T positive. So this is tyrosinase positive. So unlike the amelanistic albino T negative blood python, which I will show, this animal still has some tyrosinase. So basically think of it as the melanin. There is still a control to allow some melanin. You're gonna see it right towards the tail. And this animal, as it gets older, just gets prettier and prettier. Really lovely. I mean, when the first albinos came out, whoa, just amazing. All right, let's take a look at it. So here we have a double visual. And this is a T positive with the genetic stripe. And you can see just lovely. And this animal only get better looking. When they're babies, they don't even look that fantastic. So if I have T negative, I love that. So that is called panic. Hi, hi, hi. So what we can do, so remember, these animals, there's, a number of these have not been socialized per se for, like to be somebody's pet just yet. So they are pretty much a blank slate. So this is the genetic stripe and the T positives together. And I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, when they're babies, they don't look like much. The T negatives don't look like much at all. But isn't that lovely? And look, I didn't get bit yet. I will though. Here is just, this is stunning. So this is a black-headed, super red blood python. It's also the batik morph. So the batik morph has the granite sides. I love this little guy. He is so amazing. Look at that. Just, glorious. So the thing with blood pythons, you can get some really, really amazing animals. I mean, you look at people like Cold-Blooded Earth, Nick Bettini and stuff like that. Juggernaut reptiles, oh my God. And obviously Cara Glasgow, who's actually, yeah. She has ridiculous line-bred blood pythons. And like super, super red, just like cream of the crop, the best. And so you can get amazing blood pythons, in many cases, not for a ton of money. And you get this big snake package and this little amazing animal. And believe it or not, they can be very friendly. I have so many friendly blood pythons. I'm having to reduce my blood python collection because right now I have a big business with employees, and it is not lucrative in many cases to breed and make a lot of blood pythons. But look how nice that is. And my phone does not want to show red. How am I doing on my bubblegum video? I've been wanting to do this. I was doing a bubblegum video on my little dwarf monitors, and I let Andy film it, and then Andy has been really busy, so I was I'm like, I gotta come up with something. I gotta do maybe some emeralds. I just want to make sure I'm keeping, oops, sorry, that's me hitting the camera. That's so nice. And of course we have pied bloods, which are super rare. And this is through the dedication of a man that has been working this project for years to bring it to market, and it has barely even begun to even hit the market. But look at this. I got into the pied bloods because I was like, oh goodness, it's so rare, and it's like a dream. You don't even get to see much for pictures or anything. They're really different. They're super, super varied. This animal is non-cooperative, and the tongue is very light. I'll pull out some others. Okay, look at that. Muted head. I love that. You're a doll. So if I'm watching this animal, you're watching the behavior of this animal. And note the good tongue flicks. They actually have this very pale tongue, which is cool. Look at the tip of the nose. Hold on, I have to refocus. It's tough doing this all bubblegum like, but look how nice. There we go. Look at this gray area and this granite. I guess it might be a long video. There's so many cool blood pythons that I love. All right, so no bites yet. I do have one that's really pissed. I'm saving him for the end, maybe. Here is a magpie, so that's the super golden eye. Look at that, just friggin' ridiculous. I have some that are whiter, and then some that are more yellow, but it's like, I remember when VPI posted the first ones, and I'm like, what the heck am I looking at? The most ridiculous blood python in the world. Look at the belly. Let me see a little bit. She's like, let me get away. Very lovely. I'm still, so I have an animal here that has been thrown out of its comfort zone. Hi. Yes, you're gonna slow down? Oh, I saw a little short tongue being bratty. Look at that. Look into my eye. Boing! Goodbye. How about if we add T positive and even pixel into it? So magpie, but look at all those little speck on. Ow! Stop. So that, once again, is the camera. You know, I really wanted to save any bites to the very end. Just wanted to just show it. So remember, you have to earn their trust. Hi. You're just a little shy thing. They sit, you know, under things. So it's very much a terrestrial animal that lurks on the ground. They're not climbers, at least not that I'm ever aware of. They are very heavy bodied. So a couple of things I can tell you about blood pythons is they have an incredibly resourceful metabolism, which means the food that they're eating is really turned into growth and fat stores and meat on them. So very, very efficient. Their spine is taller than most other snakes. So sometimes you'll get that very much, that angled right there, like Kevin doesn't feed the snakes. This is fatty. And it's because of the physiological, you know, skeletal structure of this animal. Yeah, you're wonderful. So I can do, like, I call it supportive therapy. But what I do is I assure this animal we're okay. Hi. And when I'm doing this, the mouth didn't even open. And I'm not even paying attention. But it's just, he hates the camera. It's the camera, folks. Look at you. You're gorgeous. So look at that. Look at that smoky head. I love that. You're beautiful. All right, you're gonna sit here and relax a little bit. So blood pythons, the keeping of blood pythons, believe it or not, these animals, so they'll kind of live in swampy areas, wet areas, under leaf litter, and they're pretty much ambush hunters, largely, but they need humidity with ventilation. So what we tend to do is we often keep them, let's say they're very comfortable in all sorts of rack systems, actually putting them in an open cage with a lot of glass, that can actually cause these guys a lot of physical problems due to their brain not wanting to be seen because they want to hide. So they might actually strike at the glass, they might hurt their face. So they actually often do better being known but not necessarily seen. And what we tend to do, if we put them in rack systems, we don't give them enough ventilation. And so when they do poop and they do pee, you have all the ammonia from the urea and the urine and all that stuff. And that, with a lot of humidity, will cause very stagnant air in there. And that, I guess we're gonna call it noxious air, can be an irritant to the lungs or the lung of that animal. And in some cases we can get, you know, respiratory infections, but this animal does really well being humid, but also being ventilated. So you want to make sure you know that. What kind of temperatures? Well, I think what they really do pretty well is 82, 84 ambient, and they can get up, you know, warm in the night, like maybe a hot spot 90, 92, but make sure the animal has a way to cool down. They don't need to eat a ton. They will eat huge meals, and they tend to get a little bit constipated because they're not the most active snakes in the world. So they're not always moving around. So if you do have a blood python or you have blood pythons, letting them soak is great. Going in the water, making sure that they're very hydrated, maybe taking them out, doing rounds of handling, put them in a bathtub. Warm water can really get things going. And look at that, just lovely. Little head. Hi. And this one, see that nice long tongue flick? Really good. Not too freaked out by the camera. That real, right there, long, inquisitive tongue flick. That's what you want. And you have to win these animals over. And, you know, if you're afraid of getting bit by a snake like this, you know, it's nothing. I don't care. It's most of it is in your mind. It's not going to do anything. It does is like completely superficial. Here is a non-cooperative snake that's starting to act irrational. So it starts crawling really, really fast. Now it's going to freak out. It's going to hold its ground. So I just do nice, calm. But this animal, yeah, it's just throwing himself around. So I'm showing you even bad examples. And they tend to be explosive. But you're not, this animal's not using its brain. So being explosive, not using its brain. Hi. And it hates this camera. But I was trying to show the melon. So I'm gonna keep referring to pieds because a little face. You guys are being far better. Look at that on the, like the tip right there. I love that. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of the pied blood python. It's always been like a dream. And you know, I never lost my mind on the pied worms. And I don't understand why. But I think I lost my mind on pied retics. Pied retics are ridiculous. So nice. So we just have to keep working the other morphs into the pied so we can see craziness. And it's still in its infancy. You know, what's happening. We're up to T-negative pieds, but more coming. When I was getting the first pied blood, it was you could only get a female, so you spent big money, and they're just super rare right now, and kind of look right there. That's really pretty right there. So one thing you might notice with the pied, it seems to not have as remarkable red just yet. I think there's something in the gene that's taking off the red layers. We have often a lot of gray, but there are some red ones. But boy, when you know, for the next one we'll show T-negative pieds, but you'll see the red is definitely there on the T-negs. Look at that. I'm lovely. Very well behaved. As soon as I put this blood python near the camera, immediately gets upset. So this is a magpie matrix, T positive, and she was fine. And then she saw the camera. But look at that. That's so cool. I will show off a couple big adults. I guess it's going to be a long video. Will you be able to stick with me, or are you going to start yawning? Hi. Hi. Believe it or not. So you're just touching some animals. Like once they know, you know, handling is okay, and you do something nice and calming and sincere. Oh! You took the hit right on my thumb. And you just kind of just take it easy with these guys, and just remember it's a little brain. So hand under. Okay. Get that little brain going. Not flicking its tongue. So that means fearful. I'm just going to be in this very defensive thing. We want to get them, remember my modes. Fear mode, I want to get into thinking mode. So there we go. Now we're going, now we're recording, so something good. So it's very important for nothing bad to happen to this animal in this little short little thread. So make sure you're checking out my threads of trust. I go through animal socialization techniques, how to win over crazy animals, and it really, really works. I hope if you haven't seen these, you're a fan, or you will be a fan of all my socialization. But remember, threads of trust. I'll keep pulling out pies. I was trying to show you just some eye candy. Look at that gray. You see that? Hi. Look at that. It's like multiple different snakes all put together. So you see this, it seems classic. Right behind the head, we have the melanin. You're not gonna cooperate right there, and then it changes. That seems very, very classic with the light hypo tongue. And then we go to here, and then we got this gray granite. So imagine this pied in batik. Oh my God. You're gorgeous. And this fine fellow is a golden ivory. Look at you. Look at that little face. Yeah, no, you don't like the camera. But look how beautiful you are. Boy, I'll tell you, if you just want stunning python mutations that you can keep, and they're not really, they're not dangerous. They don't get too big. Single person can always manage one of these. Blood pythons are ridiculous. Look at you. I love you. All right, here's an interesting one. This is unrelated T-negative blood python. This came out of the wild. So we saved this from skins and all that. Hi, buddy. He took so long to acclimate, like a year at least. But I had to have him. He's unrelated to anything. I'll show you my ridiculous T-red, T-negative stuff. This guy's more yellow, orangey, but I love him. And he's a doll. He's just a little cutie. He's wild caught, so you can make friends. Just be nice to them. Hi, buddy. Almost looks like an albino berm, doesn't it? Let's go hands-free. This is a T-negative golden eye. Hi, baby. Let's get you into the spotlight. Hi, baby. Look at your little face. Hi. So I've held quite a few blood pythons, and I'm still doing okay. Look at you. I am doing a blood python video and unraveling the mystery about blood pythons and why there's so many people afraid of them. But look at this guy. Yeah. You're just horrific. Hi, baby. This is a T-negative golden eye, who is precious. It's a boy, actually. He's still precious. Trying to make sure. My phone just doesn't want to get red. All right, I guess I gotta say goodbye. Make sure you check out my video on YouTube for blood pythons. I'm gonna put up shortly. Lots of cool stuff. And here is a T-negative. Hi, baby. Look how amazing that is. Just the red is unbelievable. And I guess I'll finish my video because it's gotten noisy. Hi. Hi. All right, I survived once again, handling probably 20 some odd blood pythons, and I lived. But blood pythons are amazing. There's some amazing breeders out there that have really been working very hard. Look at that. It's just the camera. Hi. Hi. So no tongue flick. There you go. This is actually a very sweet male. All right, well, let me know what you think of my bubblegum videos. And as always, thank you for sticking around, because I know my social media, I've a little bit laxed on it. And maybe should I do an emerald tree boa video? Because I've been playing with my emerald tree boas a lot. All right, guys, thank you very much. And everybody, hope you're all doing well. Hold on, let me get you. Look, one-handed blood python. Look, I'm too busy. I got eggs I gotta pull. Hello. Oops. No, don't be falling on the floor. You're gonna fall on the floor. Hi. All right, this is a bubblegum video. Oh, my finger, I got mauled by a spectacle. I mean, not spectacle caiman, smooth front caiman. Look at that. There's a nice clutch of eggs right here. That's a pied retic. All right, everybody, I hope you're well, and let's see what you got to say in your comments. You know I do try to read them. Thank you very much.